The PTS has dropped, and with it comes a bunch of changes to quite a few things. Some perk card reworks, 4-star legendaries have been introduced, enemy changes, but out of all the changes and additions, two things caught my eye. And if you don't want any spoilers, then of course this is PTS footage, so leave the video. But for those staying, say hello to Poison. New legendary effects for both weapons and armor have been introduced, some exclusive for ranged weapons, some for melee, some for regular armor, some for power armor, you get the idea. But one new legendary effect is Miasma for armor. When hit, a poisonous DOT cloud harms nearby targets for 10 seconds. A DOT damage increases per equipped piece, and yes, for this particular video, we have a full set of Miasma here, but technically, you only need one piece with it. I just felt like going all out with the poison for the first test to see its full potential. Next up for weapons, we have a new legendary effect, Vipers. When a combat target is poisoned, deal 50% bonus damage. Now that's a nice little buff. Because our auto axe is modded with poison, technically we don't need miasma on our armor, so for an auto axe, Vipers works extremely well. But for any weapon out there that does not have an option to give it poison damage via a mod or just having it built in, well then miasma takes care of that for you. So Vipers isn't just exclusively useful on something like an auto axe. Now on your bigger targets like behemoths, I mean yeah, just instantly dead, and on regular enemies as well, instantly being dealt with. That's nothing unusual for an auto axe, but even more so now with Vipers kicking in. Because we have the poison mod on our auto axe, we are guaranteed to inflict the enemy with poison unless they're completely immune, so Vipers is constantly active. So we always have that bonus damage kicking in. Even on boss targets like Earl that have high poison resistance, Vipers still activate. But that is also where the first thing to note comes in. If the weapon you're using does not have a poison mod or built-in poison damage, then you will need miasma. But even with a full set of miasma, it was not enough to get through Earl's poison resistance when using an electric auto axe, for example. So Vipers, of course, not kicking in then. So if the enemy you are fighting has high poison resist, then you're either going to have to use a weapon that has guaranteed poison on it, or find very interesting ways of building up poison on them, especially if you're solo. If you're not solo and there's a bunch of people at a boss event all using stuff like miasma, then maybe you can get through the resistance. But there's also pyromaniacs for weapons, same thing as Vipers, just fire damage instead of poison. So if a boss has less fire resist, then go fire instead. Quite a few weapons have fire damage mods, so I'm pretty sure it'll probably see a bit more use than Vipers. And you can also use stuff like Molotovs to build up burn, so you have some interesting ways to make things work for both Vipers and Pyromaniacs. Another reason why I went all out on Miasma was to see how well the DOT does against regular enemies, and it worked rather well, which makes it great for tagging enemies in events. Just run through an area, get hit or shot, and Miasma kicks in, or just for casual farming. Against regular mobs, Miasma handles them nicely. Even Legendary's health bars got destroyed by it, so it's quite useful as a passive 4th star legendary effect. With just one piece of Miasma, you can get your Viper's benefit going on whatever weapon, and then your other armor pieces can have other legendary stars for even more build variety and combinations, assuming the enemy you are fighting does not have high poison resistance, of course. So that will need trial and error depending on what situations you are wanting to use it in, whether you can get away with just having one piece of miasma. Since we are reflecting damage, other reflect per cards like Ricochet just makes sense, and then also another new legendary 4th star is Reflective, generally very hated in events. Well, now we get to use it, so you could get a massive reflect damage focused build going in multiple ways, which I think is pretty cool. If you'd like to see that, then let me know in the comments and I can see what it can do. But hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, consider liking and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.